Cool vlog, kind of mini vlog right now, part 2, because we're heading back and I've only got like 45 minutes on this battery probably, so this won't be full. So when I was coming here to this class, I was talking about how how I'm gonna miss my wife and some other things, some autistic stuff a little bit. I started to, and I didn't really get a chance to, I didn't really put it into words good, but like, what's going on here? In the class I just taught, for instance, you know, when me and my wife were together, I sometimes print, and it takes 2 people to print sometimes for different students. And when you're printing different books, because that's what I do, you have to print books for the students sometimes, right? Actually, all the time I print. I have a brother, HL8250 CDN dual-sided laser printer. So it's like a 2-person deal where both of us work together, and it's the little moments that are frightening. Like today when I went there, okay Google, navigate home. So when I went there today and I got out the paper that she printed, I saw how she divided them among every student really nice and stuff. And I was thinking about her. I was thinking, like, you know, those little things. And I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna sure miss her. And I don't mean about printing, but like, it's like what we do as a team for so long, you know what I mean? And just imagining that she's not gonna be there for everything, you know, not just the printing, but for everything. To imagine that, you know. I forgot to turn my VPN here. And I'm not very good at getting the directions right, so I better, let me see here. Hold on a second, I'm pretty sure you have to go straight, right? Let's see here. Okay, so I got it. So, I mean, it's like the little things, like every day, multiple times a day, I realize she's gonna be gone, and like how alone that's gonna make, how I'm gonna feel. Like, yeah, I could print by myself, but that's not the point. It's like when you're a companion with somebody for a long time, I'm gonna be all the way over in the US and she's gonna be here in China, and I gotta fight to perform well, or they're not gonna let her in. That's crazy, man. I mean, it's like being scared of a parent, like that you're gonna get punished or something. Oh, I hope they let me see my wife. It's like being a kid, like, can I go out with my girlfriend or something like that? Come on, Dad, lend me the keys tonight. You know, crazy, you know. So I don't know how to put that into words, but these kind of little instances, these cracks in the facade, God, they all come to me and they make me think, like, what the hell is gonna happen here, you know? And, I don't know. I have to try to just deal with it because that's what it is, you know? And it's like, I'm pretty busy today. I'm not seeing her, but when I go home, we're gonna see each other because we always see each other. It's hard to imagine that would not be. There's a time coming where it's just gonna be me and not her, and she's gonna be somewhere else, and it's gonna be suck, you know? So that's just what I wanted to add to that. That's kind of a rosy intro, right? Yeah, so anyways, what else is on the menu? Been trying to start talking about autism a little bit because I'm listening to these blogs, and from England actually, and typically there's this man and this woman, and they both have Asperger's, I guess, and they talk about it. And I've never, you know, I got some of my children are autistic, and I found out through researching for my kids what autism was all about that I didn't know before. So I'm pretty sure I'm undiagnosed Asperger's. Now, such a wide spectrum autism, right? It is a wide spectrum. A lot of different things. Oh shit, did they say go forward? Okay, I'm not looking at my GPS very good. Sorry, guys. I thought I was gonna go back there, but they say go forward and then go left. Okay. No big deal. No big deal. So like, unlike my kids, yeah, I'm a lot like my kids in some ways. But I didn't have the speech problem. I was in speech therapy a little bit, but I don't think to an extent that my children have. I mean, not even close to Solaris and Apollo, right? So, to hear people talk about it, and to hear a talk show about it, and it's kind of interesting for me. And like I said, when I grew up, it was a question about like being maybe a strange child or weird kid or something. And hey, weird kid, and but then turns out there's something more to that. And Asperger seems kind of like a questionable thing, while other parts of the spectrum to me are like really definitive. I don't know. But I'm listening to it to find out about it. I'm debating whether or not, which way do we go here? Fucking Google. Oh, I went the wrong way. Son of a bitch. I've had to try to, hold on, I'm trying to, okay, this is the right way. Is Google gonna take me? Oh my God, my Google was speaking Chinese. Crazy. So when I get back, I'll try to maybe get an official diagnosis. I don't know what's up with. But the topic of this talk show, or this podcast I was listening to, is like, they're talking about how being undiagnosed and being diagnosed, and they're talking about thinking about how different. One guy was talking about thinking about how different his life would be if he was diagnosed at a younger age. And the woman was diagnosed at a younger age, and they're a lot younger than me, you know, 21, 22. So I'm listening, and it's pretty perplexing to think about that concept. And even like, you know, I'm in China where the healthcare system is just not what it is in other countries for mental health. And, oh, am I taking this bridge home? Man, Google always likes to take this bridge home, right? That's right, the last video was a puppy video, I think, on a Sunday, huh? Oh well, no problem. I wanted to take the low sheet, that would have been a better workout. It's okay. But I hear a lot of jokes on Reddit. Like autist jokes, like even Crystal out there, the lady girl who's been giving me such a hard time, has used the word to say autist, and you're such a, and I hear it as a derogatory thing. Since I'm out of mainstream American culture for a long time, of course I'm familiar with people saying retard and stuff like that. But to hear the term autist and autistic be used in that context is a little bit strange for me. And welcome to wonderful, it's always slow here to merge right here on this section. When I come up on the other side of this lane, this merge point always slows down traffic a lot. But Sunday, I don't know, everybody's going out of the city right now, opposite of the morning. So number one, it's different for me to hear that kind of terminology of being used derogatively. And number two, I kind of loosely listen to their experiences, and even something as I say, well, that's just growing up or childhood. But man, I mean, like, when I grew up, I had a really tough childhood. But you know, who's to say, you know, I had a non-traditional parents, divorces, and crazy kind of shit. I always kind of attributed my childhood difficulties with my parents or something, right? And now that we have the concept of Asperger's in the mix, and I got a couple autistic children, it really paints a different light on the subject. And I rethink so many things growing up, like I told you guys earlier, I would get the newspaper, the daily news, and I would read every single word. Well, actually, I remember before that. I remember first learning how to read. When I was young, I was fascinated to read every single sign in the street. And then when I got my dad to get in the newspaper, I would read every single funny in the back, the comics. And I didn't stop at the comics. Then I started to read every single one ad. And then I started to read every single advertisement, like, and every single page. And I was disappointed when the newspaper was finished. And I was always excited to get the newspaper. And that hunger and that excitement, wow, it manifested itself in so many different parts of my youth. And everything, like the Mad Magazine comic books as a kid. Oh, I would read those from front to back and back to front. Every book. And I started this terrible reading addiction. And sit with my encyclopedia. My mom got me an encyclopedia set, like random gift of being a mother. Well, I read everything. And I really, and it's not just that, I mean, when I had to clean my room, it was like perfect. And like, clean the house. Cut the grass. I once had a job as a detailer, and one of my uncles said, when I was young doing a job in a detail auto shop, he said, the problem is I treat each car like it's my own car and I get way too much into it. And that was the sign. I mean, I wonder if I would have been diagnosed with autism if I was alive and young during this age of autistic discovery, right? But baseball card collection, I mean, I had a Commodore 64, that one of the few gifts my mom got me randomly. And my stepmom was like evil, she never let me use it. But when I could use it, if you ever have the Commodore 64, they've got a page in the user manual where you have to type the code to make the MIDI soundtrack. Oh man, typing every letter and every piece of code, that was awesome. I had so much potential to become a geek and a nerd, what my stepmom kept from me. Unfortunately, probably ruined my life, right? I was very, very interested in everything. Like I mentioned earlier, I rated my stepmom's Stephen King book library. I mean, how many guys are reading Stephen King? All of them when they're 10 years old, right? I mean, well, I had to do a research paper on Beethoven, like 30 pages of typing, and I loved it. But at the same time, I got in trouble at school a lot, like for social skills. Like I'd go to school and I'd sneak books into the classroom. I'd sneak AM radios to listen to the radio talk shows. I always wanted that, and I was always bored in the class, and I was always different, and I didn't fit in good. And I was heavily penalized for that. That's why my grades were what they were. I did have handwriting problems, typical autism. I mean, I had some hard challenges what I see in my kids, which, knowing what autism is, I recognize that. But I had really hard times with people. And I had hard times knowing when it was right to laugh and knowing when it was right to be sarcastic and not be sarcastic. Like, I remember my neighbor's house. My stepmom, oh, she was really great for autism, I'll tell you what. Constantly ridiculed me. One time my neighbor locked her keys in the house during one of the snowstorms in Colorado, and we were trying to get in at her house, trying to help her get in, and I said, well, next time she should be more careful and not let her keys, like a very autistic thing, right? And my stepmom punched me in the face, sent me flying like off the ledge into the snow. And that sums up how many days were that I just didn't have the tact and the understanding how to socially communicate. So I get beat. And when I first went to dances, my stepmom would drop me off every Friday. When I first found out, like, try to get a girlfriend and kiss a girl, and I was so obsessed and fixated with this. I developed a lot of obsessions, like autistic kids, they carry a toy or something. Well, I had that experience, like abnormally so, you know, and this happened through high school, and I just really wasn't, there's no therapy for it or anything, right? And I could probably write a book about my autistic childhood. But looking back now that I'm older, it's like abundantly clear. I was really different than other kids. And some of my differences got me in trouble. Especially as a teenager, and when adolescence hit me, well, I made some mistakes. Had a lot of hard time making decisions. But you know, you might probably say, well, a lot of people have that, right? Well, I didn't see a lot of people having the difficulties with that, and of course, my parents, stepmother and my dad, they kicked me out for a reason unknown to me. I don't know why to this day, I was kicked out of my house at 14. I guess because I was autistic and they didn't want to deal with it. So like, being alone, and I had the addictive routine made out. But man, that's not a good thing for autistic kids, man. I would come home and watch Star Trek The Next Generation at 6. I'd watch Star Trek The Original Generation at 10. I'd watch the shows. I'd cook my pot pie, ramen, mayonnaise and cheese dinner. And I'd sit down and I'd do that every day by myself. That was my autistic routine. Pretty sad and pretty fucked up. So later on in life, you know, as I went through life's phases of experimentation, before I left America, and even after leaving America, I had a hard time drinking sometimes, but not like the alcoholic that you think of. My problem, I haven't heard him talk about this on the talk show yet, but when I would drink, and like, I don't mean all the time, and I probably could drink and not be crazy right now if I wanted to drink. But I would lose a little bit of the control, what I've learned about my autism traits. Like I don't want to say I'd be more me, but sometimes drinking, I get, you know, I don't want to talk about autistically playing pool, man. Yeah, that's something I did a lot when I was younger. Man, playing pool was so fucking interesting for me. I was pretty good, like jumping, baking, like, but I was obsessed with pool. I was like, I didn't care about the girls or I wanted to play pool, like, all the time, because that was my obsession. And these things have followed me through life, and I try to keep control of it. My wife has helped me a lot. This wife, I mean, Huang, I've helped her with her bipolar depression, and having my kid, I don't know if it's just my wife, but having my kids and having her patience, and I'm just getting to be an old man. I'm not perfect, and I still let it slip. In China, I can't really say, hey, I'm sorry I got Asperger's. Sometimes I tell people. But you know, that was a big danger about drinking for me. Is I would do autistic things, right? Like, not evil, not bad, but definitely different than everybody else. And one of the reasons why I try to stop drinking is I want to be able to integrate better and not become the natural person. But you know what? I mean, like, come on, look at the mass amounts of people that are autistic and have ADHD. When I was young, wow, I remember now, I certainly was hyper, had ADHD. And luckily that worked itself out. I didn't have any medication or anything like that. And I don't, you know, with my own kids, Paul Takwa had some medicine sometimes, but I don't want to drug my kids up or anything, you know. And I imagine how different my life would have been. I had such, if I would have had therapy or something for it. And even my sister and my family, they don't give a fuck. You know, like I try to tell the little bit of time I try to talk to my sister, I was like, man, woo-wee. Yeah, we got a thing that's called tunnel love. We got a thing in the sky. We got a thing that's called tunnel love. Da 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 da. Tunnel love. Woo! Woo woo! Sorry. Well, like trackballs or keyboards or really any goddamn thing. I get this fixation, and so like my sister, I barely talk to her, but I'm trying to talk to her about like trackballs on her Messenger. She's not a lot different than this crystal stalker. My sister, who I hardly know, because like I got thrown in the basement when she was born, and for an autistic kid, I mean, it's not that long that I came to my dad's house, you know, and just like not, it's a fucked up way to raise a kid, but so I hardly know her very well, but she's like, oh, I don't want to hear your shit in my messages about mouses and you're drunk and you're delusional and blah blah blah. I'm like, man, sister, you know, I've got Asperger's. I'm just talking about mice and keyboards because that shit is interesting to me, right? Fucking violent as hell, man. Very similar to this crystal. The way they talk. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I was trying to talk to my sister, Crystal, unfortunately, keeps trying to talk to me. And that's cool, Crystal. I'm sure you're watching, right? If you want to talk to me, okay, I'm pretty busy. I don't got a lot of time to talk, really. Better than attacks and call me a child molester or something crazy. No. So, and you know what? I mean, like, do you see the people? I mean, it's kind of clear why mainstream media attacks Elon Musk with this disruptiveness. it's a wonder if the people are just following the mainstream media to attack Elon. But do you hear the way a lot of people get turned off? I wouldn't be surprised if Elon is autistic. I think he's super cool. My wife always tells me, people hate you guys both, I mean, because we're different. And I think she's right. I mean, I see that, and I don't know if it's in our DNA to kind of turn against small differences in the gene pool or something. But I only got about 10 minutes left here in this podcast. So I don't know, man. I live and I hear them talking about all these traits of Asperger's on their podcast. And yeah, I can relate, man. It doesn't matter. I mean, on this application at Tesla, they got a section where you could check the box if you're autistic or have Asperger's or something. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a trap or what, you know? I'm scared to check that box, you know? I don't know what that means, right? I mean, I could work, try to do my job, and so I don't know, man. I just wanted to share that. I didn't put it into words as good as I wanted to. Maybe because I got so much on my mind. I'm getting ready to go home right now and get that 203mm rotor and bring it to the local bike store and see if we can't put it together. My wife said, why don't I bring the boys? And she's right, I want to bring them, but I'm gonna have to be pretty involved with this process to get that rotor on there. I'm not gonna have time to play with them, so I don't want to bring them and ignore them. So I guess I'll just go get the rotor and go over there. I feel terrible because I like to spend time with them, you know. It's not that often that I do that. So, about 6 minutes left of this vlog, I guess, 7 minutes. I'm happy to see all the people commenting on the blog and stuff. That's cool. Things are so ironic. As the time comes, I see a newspaper article about China wanting to overtake America is the world's leading superpower, and that's really awkward for me. Sing like the end of Pax Americana, and I don't see I mean, I live in China, and Chinese people are my friends, and I think that this whole, I see about NATO and Russia. I should get into this later on, but I think that, I mean, what are we gonna have a war and really kill each other? Are we so stupid? Why do we have the logic that there has to be a superpower, man? It's like so territorial. That's what China's doing great. They're modernizing. I'm not talking about their army. What do you want them to do? There's 1.4 billion people in China. That's a huge amount of people, man. We're coming towards that age of localized development and division. I hope that this is short-lived and we could get to the next stage. I mean, I look at Trump with Russia. They talk about that like, oh, Russia has to be an enemy. Well, I thought China's the enemy. I mean, people are wasting so much money on armies and stuff. I mean, you hear the news, how Russia must be an enemy, and how these countries must be allies. And it's like the traditional system is breaking down. I'd like to get into this topic in greater depth from different perspectives later on. Haven't talked about the news in a while, huh? Well, I guess I got about 3 more minutes, everybody. Got to get everything prepared. Hope you guys are doing okay out there. Greetings to all the people on Reddit, bike cameras. I love watching other people's videos when I can. I don't get a lot of chances to do that now. It's great to see people in America. I can't imagine going to America and being in the bike lane thing, huh? It's like the bike lane club. That's crazy, huh? I don't know if you're, I don't know what it's like for you guys in the US and other countries. I mean, I ride my bike and I absolutely wouldn't want to go to work any other way. There's very few times I wish I had a car. Well, I'm certain I'm out of juice. So anyways, I better cut it off right now. Greetings to everybody. Click subscribe, I guess. If you could donate to Patreon, I greatly appreciate it so I could get my kids over to the US. Anything helps. If this camera's still on right now, Crystal, you're watching to the end. What's up? Don't be so hateful. I don't know. I'm not a creep, man. You're the one that's stalking me and attacking me. I don't know why you call me a creep when I try to communicate with you. To question your motive, you know. If I'm such a creep, then leave me alone, right? And yeah, this thing's probably not even on. In the home stretch, right? What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day for a daydream. I'm hungry though. Only had 4 eggs instead of 6 today. Oh, it's so nice. Feels good losing weight, guys. You're still there? Sure does. Ride without a shirt, just feel the wind. It's great, man. Feels comforting and so relaxing. So seat covers out his van here. Oh, what a beautiful day.